Good morning, Gills fans, and welcome back to Gills in the Blood TV for our weekly look at Adi Pennock's pre-weekend press conference. Obviously, he's spoken to the press this morning ahead of tomorrow's trip to Rochdale. Spoke about Tuesday night team news regarding tomorrow, etc., etc. So we'll crack straight on and get involved. Have a look at what was said quickly, and then we'll have a look at tomorrow's game in more detail. As you can see, I'm back indoors this morning after enjoying the sunshine last Friday. I tried this morning, it's freezing out there, so I'm back indoors with a nice warm cup of tea. Anyway, let's crack on. Regarding that Bolton game Tuesday night, for anyone who was there, it was pretty obvious it was a one-sided game, and Adi has obviously sort of backed up that philosophy. Very disappointing. But he also said it was one of them games where they were a lot better than us. Technically, just all over the park in general. Let's not go on about it too much. He said he cannot wait for tomorrow come around and they can get back out on the pitch and put it right, hopefully at Rochdale. But yeah, Bolton were just a very, very good side and were better than us in all departments. In terms of Rochdale, he says he thinks they're quite similar to last Saturday's opponent, Scunthorpe. They like to try and get the ball down and play. They've got some good technical players, but they're on a similar run to Scunny. They've not won in, I think it's 10 now. So confidence would be low. You would have thought, obviously, we had a similar run not too long ago where we went 11 games without a win before beating Southend at home. So we need to try and take advantage of that, I believe. Adi said, obviously, we've got to be positive from the off, clearly. Interesting one, he spoke about their pitch. Apparently it's been relayed in the last few weeks, so it should be in top nick. But to counter that, he mentioned that the weather's meant to be horrendous up there today and tomorrow. So I guess it's just a case of see what occurs when we get up there and have a look at it come sort of 1:30, 2 o'clock when I go out and warm up. Obviously, if we can keep the crowd quiet, he said, then that's great. As long as we can stay in the game or be in front or pinch an early one, then that'd be excellent because their confidence had dropped straight away. But we're by no means safe yet, so I think we'd need to. They're probably looking at it and saying a similar type of thing. But yeah, he couldn't reiterate enough. They're a good side. It'd be a tough game. So, but they all are, because that's why we're near the bottom. Because they've all been tough games and all proved hard for us this season. In terms of us, he still thinks we're doing okay. Tuesday, yes, as disappointing as it was, we still won 3 of the last 5, so we've picked up 10 from 18. He thinks 3 wins will 100% guarantee safety. 2 wins and a draw should be okay. But again, like he said last week, and he keeps reiterating, he wants to get there as quick as possible. It's another cup final. They're still taking it one game at a time. And we just need to try and get that winning mentality and get it more consistently. Stating the obvious a bit, he turned around and said that we have to start better than we did Tuesday. That's pretty clear. There's also a case for saying that we need to start better than we did Saturday because it was 3 minutes then as well. So, and we obviously know what happened and we got out of jail with the wonderful last 15 minutes. But it's imperative that we start games better. In terms of team selection, he said that it's I think he's injured himself since he said that they've had no problems with injuries a few weeks ago. There's been injury after injury after injury, and at the moment he's likened it to some sort of bingo draw where he just has to pull players out of that and hope that they're fit. I know a few fans won't take too kindly to that kind of comment, but you can see his point. It's been tough. We've had lots of players suddenly get injured, and he's mentioned that there's going to be fitness tests again tomorrow. The likes of Scott Wagstaff and Ryan Jackson are having fitness tests, so fingers crossed we can have it. One I was slightly surprised about is apparently Rory Donnelly is due a fitness test, so he might be available. I didn't think he would be yet. I thought he'd still be a couple of weeks away. Chris Hurd is definitely a no. Again, you know my thoughts on that. Nothing against the fella, but I've got no problem with him not playing. Light training session today. Obviously, they're having to wrap everyone in cotton wool because of the injury problems. He did speak about Scott Wagstaff in a little bit of depth. Said he's been brilliant since he arrived at the club, and it's frustrating that he keeps picking up niggles. Said that he's got a very good footballing brain and that his work ethic is first class. So yeah, hopefully we can get some of them available for tomorrow and just boost us a little bit. But he said regardless of formation tomorrow and what we have to play, he wants to be positive and get on the front foot from the outset. So we'll have to wait and see regarding that. In terms of player contracts he was asked about, and obviously planning for next season. He was quite clear that obviously that depends on what division we are in. He's confident we will stay in League One, which is good and a given. He's not going to say, "Oh no, I think we're going to go down." Something about he apparently went to Scotland in the week to look at a player, I think he said. So he's obviously having to plan. He said if there's no contract for him at the end of the season, then so be it. He'll have to deal with that. But negotiations won't take place just yet. Obviously, until we're safe, definitely, then that's not going to happen. But obviously, he is looking to plan and look into the future. So Harry Cornick, he is alive. Played in the week. Provided an assist, I think, in Bournemouth's development game, and will be with us Monday. Too soon for this weekend, unfortunately, but yes, he is alive and well and will be ready with us for Monday, so should be available for next Saturday's game against Peterborough at home, I believe. Will be a fan's favourite, which is we couldn't say that enough. Will be a good player, get people off their feet, off their seats, onto their feet, so that's positive. A couple of questions regarding Stuart Nelson. Was he at fault at the on Tuesday? Sorry, we know he was at fault at the weekend. But Tuesday night, did he flap at a couple of crosses or whatever? And AD said, obviously, it's all football fans and managers, which you can relate to that. I love sitting here and talking about the game, which is what he said. It's brilliant. That's why we love football. He said, and we're entitled to do that because we pay our good money to go and watch the team every week, and plenty of others travel up and down the country, etc., watching the side. So he said he's got no problem with that, and he knows that, as obviously in his privileged position as a football manager, he can't always please everyone. But on the whole, he thinks Nelson's been first class since he arrived at the club. But yeah, he couldn't big us up enough. He says we're very knowledgeable of the game. Even on Tuesday, he thinks that we were aware of the fact that Bolton were better than us, and but yeah, he understands that we pay our money and we're entitled to an opinion at the end of the day. So, but yeah, so that's that pretty much sums up the press conference. We'll now go and have a look at Rochdale tomorrow in more detail. Right, Rochdale away tomorrow. Just having a little look at their form, and they've not won at home this year. They lost their most recent game, which was Tuesday night away at Scunthorpe. Last minute goal, I believe. So obviously Scunthorpe, I'm sure, would have enjoyed that after the way they lost the game at our place last week. So yeah, and it stretches to 10, like I said. So looking at their last few home games, Rochdale drew 3-3 with Sheffield United, drew 3-3 with Charlton, drew 0-0 with Bristol Rovers. So that's 3 draws on the bounce. Game before that in the league, they got tonked 4-0 by Oxford, and in between times they lost 4-0 at home to Huddersfield in the FA Cup as well. So they concede plenty, they score plenty. We don't keep clean sheets, so it could be an interesting 90 minutes. I can't see it being tight and cagey looking at this, so it might be a sort of old-fashioned we'll score more than you kind of approach from both sides. In terms of their players, I think Ian Henderson's going to cause a threat if he's available. He's got something like 13 goals this season. Calvin Andrews got 7. Steve Davis, 9 in 15 in the league, it looks like, what I'm looking at here, and he's got another 4 on top of that, so they're going to have threats. So yeah, it could make for an interesting afternoon. In terms of us, we've already touched on in the press conference that there's a lot of late fitness tests, but for me, I can't see many changes, to be honest. If I was picking the team, I would stick with Stuart Nelson this week. I would go three at the back, because I know Calvin Andrews is a bit of a lump and we need as many numbers and bodies in there to deal with him as possible. So I would stick with Deji, Zesh, and Max Amar. We haven't got many other options, have we? There's talk of Ryan Jackson maybe being available. So yeah, in midfield, Mark Byrne keeps his place in the middle, because I thought he was one of the very few brighter spots on Tuesday night. If we can get one of Jackson or Wagstaff available, I'd be inclined to play Paddy Emmanuel Osadebe in the middle next to Byrne, just to give us more energy. I would then go Lee Martin left wing back and Wagstaff or Ryan Jackson right wing back if one of them's available. Daki I would play in the hole. Obviously he seems to be getting back to his best, and up front I would go with Cody McDonald and Josh Parker. I thought Joe Quigley did all right in spells against Bolton, but you can see his inexperience, and David Wheater and Mark Beavis and Dorian DeVito, they all bullied him at times, but he didn't stop trying. I'm not going to dig him out. He was trying to play with his back to goal and get himself in between the defender and the ball, but he looks tired. He probably needs a rest. So yeah, so that'd be my team. So that'd be Nelson, Amar, Zesh Raymond, Deji, Lee Martin and Scott Wagstaff stroke Ryan Jackson at wing backs, Mark Byrne and Emmanuel Stavey in the middle, Bradley Dack in the number 10 role, and Cody and Josh Parker up front. But again, probably all change. They probably all failed their fitness test, so this chat's redundant. In terms of a prediction, looking at all them goals that they concede and we concede, and we both tend to score in most games, I am going to go for a score draw. I did say 1-1 in the week on another interview that I did, but I'm inclined to change that to perhaps 2 each now, but I will stick with a score draw. Right, before I leave you, we'll just have a look at the Friday edition of the Medway Messenger. It's not pretty reading. Pennock won't mope. Boss has no time for a Bolton hangover, and as he said in his press conference, he wants to get the boys back out on the pitch as quick as possible, and obviously get that Bolton game put to bed. There's a little piece about Ollie Muldoon apparently picking up a knock late on in the Bolton game, but he spoke in the press conference this morning, lady, and said that Ollie Muldoon's absolutely fine. He's not aware of an injury, so there seems to be nothing in that. Inside, out-muscled and outclassed again. Says it all. Don't need to go into that too much. Just a little bit of news regarding Billy Knott. He started on loan for Lincoln in the week in an FA Trophy game, which was good. He got 72 minutes, so it's good to see him getting minutes into his legs. We've spoken about all the academy players that have been given first year contracts, which is great. AD has spoken about he's not going to berate the players, and he did touch on his press conference. I think I might not have mentioned it. He said that he's not going to come out and dig out individuals, slag them off or anything like that, because the togetherness in the squad is very good, and he doesn't want to do anything to hinder that. So yeah, players not at fault. He just again keeps putting it down to the fact that Bolton were a lot better than us on the night. Anyway, that's all from me. No match day live tomorrow. Obviously, I can't go to Rochdale, so check out the other ones that get done. I'm sure the boys at the Last Walks blog will put a good one together, so have a look at that. Hopefully Monday we'll catch up with another positive Monday review. We've been doing them, a few of them now, so fingers crossed that continues. Until next time, up the Gills.